Welcome to episode 1 of the Up LINC, the podcast where we share pro tips and creator stories right here from the LINC Community Studio. I'm your host, Joshua. Today is a very special day because I'm recording my very first episode, and sitting across from the table from me today are two guys who probably find that kind of amusing because they are about to record their 75th episode. Please help me welcome Kyle McClure and Tim Test from the American Soundtrack Podcast. Guys, thank you so much for being my very first guests. To kick things off, for anyone who hasn't tuned into your show yet, can you give us just kind of your best 30-second pitch for what is the American Soundtrack Podcast?
Yeah, hey Josh, thanks so much for having us, man. It's such an honor and such a pleasure to be here. We are coming in on our 75th episode of American Soundtrack, and I cannot believe that. That's amazing to me. When we first started out, we had this desire to really be something positive in the world and to do something good for the world. And music is something that we both love. And we just decided, hey, music is a universal language and something that unites us all. And so we just started working out this concept called American Soundtrack and found this beautiful place called LINC and was able to link up with it and get our project up off the ground.
Awesome. Well, since I'm sitting here right now feeling the pressure of episode 1, I want you to kind of take me back to the beginning of your show. Take me back to that first time you got behind the mic. What were you feeling, and what made you decide to keep doing it?
I don't know about you, Tim, but I was pretty jittery. And, I have a small, I don't want to overstate it, I have a very small background in radio. So I wasn't like unfamiliar with the whole concept of sitting behind a mic and talking, but I knew, man, that this was a project that was important to us, and it was kind of nerve-wracking because I hadn't been doing it for a while. So I was a little bit nervous, but sitting across from Tim, it made my nerve calm down.
I was, definitely nervous. I've been in front of people before as an actor. I've, been on the microphone as a announcer at sporting events, but this was something kind of new. So I think there was just jitteriness in the fact that it was new, and obviously it was something we cared about even before we first hit record in here, But I think the fact that we really had kind of a plan coming in that helped the jitters go away quickly, and it just kind of really quickly dissolved into just two friends having a conversation.
That's good.
Yeah, I definitely understand that feeling. Being prepared is definitely something that helps a lot. I'm constantly preaching this to people, to kind of prep before you do it.
One of our coworkers back in the day had a really great saying that stuck with me, and it was proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
the
that.
6 Ps he called it. And so I've always tried to put that into as much as possible into things we can do. But yeah, Kyle and I really, I'll never forget, we went and had like a lunch at Culver's, a business lunch, if you will, and just kind of discussed it. And this is actually, we had already discussed the idea of even doing it, but this was kind of we're really doing it. It's funny how kind of the stars aligned between both of us wanting to do a podcast, us wanting to do more together. Since we don't work together anymore, we wanted to see each other a little more. And then, of course, me discovering the LINC and the fact that this incredible facility is available to patrons to use. And it just all came together. So we had this business lunch, if you will, at Culver's, and we're just talking it over and kind of discussing how it should go. And we really had a key moment at that meeting, I thought, that defined how our podcast would go forward from there. And I think it's worked, honestly, since day one, and I don't think we tweaked it too much. And basically the concept is Kyle and I both were really caring, unselfish, selfless people. But I kind of point out we don't need to both be hosts.
Sure.
We need a host and a co-host. And I remember the analogy I gave was the idea of, you're watching a football broadcast, and you got your play-by-play guy. The Broncos got the ball 2nd and 8 from the 10, and this is the play, and this is this, and this is the facts. And then somebody else comes in like, boy, John Elway, just really looking great. First pick out of Stanford, all that good stuff. And I think when I said that, like, Kyle got it immediately, and then we could see how the flow of the show was going to go. So I think, again, that being prepared ahead of time, it was nervous because it was new inside, but once we got talking, I remember that first episode, I don't remember nerves past the first couple minutes.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
Absolutely. Well, you're getting to episode 75 here soon. and pod fade is a real thing. And we were talking earlier before we started the show that you've been, I think, a little over 2 years now that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
So how have you kept the momentum going? And how has your dynamic as co-host kind of evolved? And you kind of talked about that just a moment ago.
Yeah, I think that for us, it's just more of what Tim talked about. I think it helps that we're friends and we enjoy, being around each other and we enjoy talking to each other. And so I think that it's a bit of a therapy for both of us. So that's part of what drives it. The other thing I think that drives it is just a commitment to it, honestly. It's not always the most exciting thing to sit down and to prepare for it and to have everything ready for the show.
All the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The fun part is coming and sitting down and having the conversation. That's the fun part. But all of the preparation that goes into it isn't always the fun part. I'm not saying that it's not enjoyable, but sometimes it just isn't. But that's where the commitment piece comes into. And for me, I know, and I think I speak for Tim here, is that we're committed to creating this body of work that one day we'll be able to present to the world, and say, hey, this is the work that we put our life into, put our heart into, and we're hoping that it makes an impact. And it's a small impact, we understand that. But, if you go and you throw a rock into the lake, there's a ripple effect that happens.
Absolutely.
We all understand that whole concept of the ripple effect. And our hope is that we can have some sort of ripple effect. If we have this little tiny pebble called American Soundtrack that we toss into the sea of humanity, hopefully it's this ripple effect that just goes and goes and goes and creates just some kind of positive impact within the entire world. And I don't know, that's kind of the biggest thing that drives me, Tim.
I would just add to that. I think it's a great subject that is endless. It's basically the concept is we study and look at different songs that have just meant something in our lives and what we consider the lives of the American soundtrack. We say that music's universal. Nobody hates music. We may not all like the same or agree on the same artist, all that good stuff, but just music is a venue. It's a venue to...
It's a good binder.
Yes. And so we'll never run out of songs.
Right.
We'll never run out of songs or music that we are either interested in already. I think my energy is a little higher when I hear something from the 80s. That's my kind of... And I know that, our next song I believe that we're going to be recording is... Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. And just opening the notes from that, I got hyped. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be one where I'm going to have to... But there's also songs that either A, I've never heard of, which is also one of some of my favorite episodes, or B, songs where... in my past, I decided I didn't like them. And it's funny how your mood changes in different seasons of your life. So it's actually been a couple of my favorite episodes, like the Dr. Jones, Mr. Jones, was the ones where... is Dr. Jones.
No, it's Mr. Jones.
Oh, see? Our own podcast, and I'm going back and forth. Aqua's Dr. Jones, paging Dr. Jones. That got in my mind. Different song, but maybe we'll cover Aqua someday. But anyways, the point being is that was a song that is very important to Kyle. A song I thought I absolutely hated. He told me the story behind it and what led to the creation of it. And those are some of my favorites when I can change my mind on something and have an open mind. So I think that's what helps us to kind of, I don't remember what you said, pod fade.
Yeah.
I think that helps us, kind of hold that off because we're just excited for the new song or excited to learn about the new song. And so, and again, Kyle really hit it on the head. We just love being able to see each other once a week. This really is a passion project for us. Both we want people to enjoy it, but Tim and I get to come once a week for a couple hours and see our friends, and that includes our new friend Joshua at the Link, the most amazing person in the world for helping out with podcasting.
Yes.
Well, I'm so grateful that you guys have been continued to do it. You guys are practically residents in the studio, which leads me to how you make your show. You could have totally bought a USB mic and recorded in your living room or your garage, but you chose to make the Link studio your home base. How did you first discover the space? You kind of told us a little bit about that. And would you recommend this as a recording space to other people?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So absolutely. My wife and I moved to Greeley in 2023 from Longmont. And so new to town. My life really isn't in Greeley at all. I teach at Berthoud Elementary School. I am a flag football coach at Mountain View High School in Loveland. So I'm pretty much everywhere but Greeley. And so there's not been a lot that I've done in Greeley to make me feel like, yes, I actually live in Greeley. And my wife is always trying to, I'm a social butterfly and I need to get out once in a while. And she's like, my mom and I found this incredible place, the LINC. It's a library. And I immediately, and this is terrible, guys, I did. I like, oh, a library. That's all I need, I got my Kindle. I can read books on home, audiobooks, But man, I'm glad that I followed through on her recommendation, because coming in, the LINC is a library. It absolutely is. Has books, all the good stuff, the children's section, the nonfiction, everything you would see. All you're missing is the librarian tell you to shush, or the Dewey Decimal System for those of us born before the year 2000. But it's so much more than that. It's a makerspace. It's a technology space. It's the fact that when I found out that there are spaces that not only are available, but that you can rent out, it's just absolutely amazing. And I couldn't believe it. It really, because I had thought actually about doing a podcast for a while, and I absolutely didn't even know I didn't even know how to start to begin with. You mentioned, why didn't you just buy this in your home? I'm like, I don't know what I need to buy. It was just that great white shark that was just so overwhelming, and I felt like I was drowning in the idea of how would I get a podcast start. And then I feel like within about a 2-week period, maybe less, I discovered the LINC and the fact that we have a podcast studio here and we patrons, I'm saying we can use it. And then my friend Kyle came up to me and said, hey, I have an idea for a podcast. And I'm just like, man, it's all coming together.
I love it when the stars align like that.
Yeah.
So how does having access to a dedicated professional environment impact the actual quality of your show and your creative mindset?
So I really think that environment matters a lot, no matter what you're doing. And I think that this setup here is like you said, it's very professional, and it's set up in a professional way. In fact, when I walk into it, it reminds me of the days back when I was working in radio. And it's set up very professionally. The equipment is top notch. The room and the way that it's set back from the rest of the library, to having somebody who is dedicated to, being it's not the right word, but like being the manager of the space, the steward of the space, taking care of the space. It feels very professional. And so when you walk into that kind of environment, it elevates you, right? And it just changes the way that you approach the whole deal. And so I think it really helps us to approach it with a level of professionalism versus what it would have been like had we been at one of our houses and sat on the couch to do this.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'd like to think that if we went that route, we would still stick with it. But it seems like it's a job without being a job, because we obviously look forward to coming to it. Not that we don't always look forward to coming to our job, but it feels different when it's like, nope, it's Tuesday night. We got that on the schedule. We got to get in there. We got to get it done. We know that we're going to get it done professionally made, and it kind of almost keeps us to a routine. And I think that alone is a big difference that I don't think a lot of people would think about. You're at home, then there's always a reason why not to,
That's very true. I think it's really easy to go off the rails when you're at home. You're very comfortable in that environment.
And then all of a sudden you decide, well, I'll take a week off, and then that week becomes 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then you decide, oh man, do I remember what I talked about last, or anything like that. So I think having the routine and the scheduling, which again, even at that, shout out to you. You've been so accommodating. I know we're obviously not the only group that comes and uses this space or the other amazing space in the LINC. We're right in the same area. There is a full TV studio. Kyle and I don't use it because we always say we have a face for radio. But I know you told us about several amazing, talented groups and individuals that have taken advantage of that space as well. So I just think, having you here to support us and knowing that we got you as a safety net and you can answer questions and you work with us on scheduling, it just makes it's such a piece of cake to do this.
It's really awesome. And a big part of this podcast that we're starting here is to kind of pass the torch to the next creators, and give you all a way to see what everyone else is doing. So you guys are pretty much veterans on this gear now. What is the single most key piece of advice that you'd give to another patron who wants to start their first podcast?
Remember the flash drive.
That's maybe too inside of a joke, but yeah, oh my gosh, that is so funny, man. Yeah, gather all your equipment before you
details.
Yeah.
The library is amazing, but they would like to not provide people with space to download their podcast or whatever you will. And so just buy yourself one or two, and if you have a partner or two or three, make sure everybody has one and actually brings them. But no, Josh has even helped us out in those situations once in a while. Not that it happens that often.
Yeah, that's good.
So what's one technical trick or kind of workflow habit that you've developed since you started using the studio? And is there any of that you would want to pass on to some other folks?
I mean, I don't know if this is what you're asking, so if it's not, just tell me to go a different direction. But no, I think that it's important, like Tim said, you want to prepare before you come in. So for us, we prepare the research and we set up a conversation guide. So we don't have like a paragraph by paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence that we read. We have bullet pointed conversation, and it's broken up into segments, and we hope that creates a nice flow between each segment, and we think that it does. But I think really it's preparing that some sort of conversation guide, and if you're going to read it, like that's totally fine too. But just something along those lines, because I'm going to tell you, when you sit down and you press record and you get ready to talk, you 30 seconds is a long time.
It is.
And trying to fill that, man, you're gonna find that, I don't have enough to say. And so I would think come prepared with something like that.
I would add to that, don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. Kyle and I always call our podcast a conversation between two friends, and the third friend is the listener out there listening. And we do take ourselves serious enough in that, we want it to be good. We want to really, Kyle is amazing. He is the research mind. He picks the songs. I can give him input if I want, but he always does such a phenomenal job. I don't want to, and he does great research for us to do. And then I kind of add that color commentary if you want, a little flair here and there. And it really works for us. But, I think our viewers, our listeners, if you will, because we don't have viewers, our listeners appreciate how real we are. We are so real. This is one of my favorite kind of memories of this podcast. We're so real that I learned about 3/4 of the way through an episode that him and I were talking about two completely different songs, but with the same name. And I can't think of the song right now, and I wish I could. But
that's hilarious.
It'll come to me. Forever Young.
Yeah,
Forever Young. Yep. And I was focused on the Rod Stewart one, and I don't remember the artist of the off the top of my head of the one we were actually covering.
Yeah, it was a German band, but I can't.
German band, but it's a fun episode if you want to go back and look for that one. That's a phenomenal one to find out about. Forever Young. Yeah, I remember there was a moment early on where I'm like, I think. And I'm like, no, never mind, forget it. And then we keep going on, and I'm like, nope, we're definitely looking at the wrong songs.
It was so funny because we have an intro to our podcast, and it's an intro like the music. The way it works is we take the instrumental of the song that we're doing, and we start that, and then we give some kind of set the scene a little bit and give some detail of what was happening in the world during that year of when that song was released. And I hit record, and I'm getting ready to hit the song, and I hit the song, and all of a sudden I just see Tim, and we've gotten really good at reading each other. And so I see like something isn't right. In his mind, he is like, wait a second, hold on, something's not right. And then he kind of just moves his head to the side and then looks over at me, and I'm like, oh man, what is going on? And then I look at him, he goes, nah. And he just kind of waves his hands. Never mind. Like, we're good. We're all good. Gives me the thumbs up, and we keep going. But we get halfway through the podcast, and he's like, okay, I think we're talking about two different songs. Oh, man. But the fun thing about a podcast is, and this is what I like about a podcast versus a radio show, is that podcast is far more relaxed. Yeah. And it's okay to mess up, and it's okay to show your realness, if you will.
We didn't edit it out, of course.
Yeah, we didn't. I went back and forth, and I was like, "Do we re-record it?" And then I was like, "No, you know what? That's what a podcast is. It's real. It's raw. Let's just let it be, and we'll just have it out there for the rest of our lives, for all of eternity, for everybody to make fun of. But it'll be something fun and special for the listener."
But hey, there's no bad press, right?
Exactly. Oh, that's a great story. So as you're moving forward here, getting, coming up on 75, 100's next. What's the next big goal for American Soundtrack? Is there a milestone that you want to try and set for yourself?
Yeah, it's just a milestone. It's definitely not the ending point, but 100 episodes to me would just be amazing. I mean, I told Tim when we were getting going that, and I don't remember the exact numbers now, but it's the majority of people who set out to start a podcast actually never start one. And then for those that do, the overwhelming majority of those only end up recording one podcast, one episode.
Wow.
And anybody who gets to 20 is like in the upper echelon of people who record podcasts. But even hardly anybody gets past 20. And so for me, if we were to hit 100, that would just be a huge milestone for me. Not an ending point, just a huge milestone to feel like we've actually stuck to something. We've actually committed ourselves to something, and we are consistently putting out something for people to listen to.
Yeah, 100 sounds amazing. Honestly, when I got your email that we were at 75, I think Kim and I had just had a conversation a day or two before, and it was like, hey, I think we're at 57. And then you're like, oh, by the way, congrats on getting to 75. We're like, whoa. So that alone blows my mind. Not necessarily number-wise, but we always talk on the podcast about things that kind of like for another day, the dude dad is famous for his joke about I'll get it done someday. And so we'll talk about we'll be having a discussion like, boy, I wonder how many people debuted at number one at their very first, or I wonder how many hair bands, didn't have a hit until their 7th CD. We should definitely make a list about that. So one of the things that we always talk about doing that I do think we will do, and I would love when this happens, is we always talk about the idea of the American Soundtrack podcast on the road. So we were both country fans, so we talked about taking a trip to Nashville and recording somewhere on site, or going to a concert at Red Rocks or whatever, and seeing somebody, maybe an artist that we've already covered, and how cool that would be to be a follow up to an earlier episode.
Yeah.
So I would love to see stuff like that. I think another reason that there wasn't a ton of nerves is, look, I don't think either of us came in with the idea that this podcast is going to make us multimillionaires or anything like that. Would it be amazing if that somehow happened? Sure, absolutely. Please tell your friends all about it. But I think that took the pressure out that this really is just a passion project, and anything that comes out of it is just going to be, icing on top. So if we could ever do the on the road thing, that I think that would be a ton of fun. That would be a huge, I think, milestone for us.
Yeah. I really liked your idea of doing a live show.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really neat.
Yeah, we have so many ideas, as Tim said. It says, wow, that would be cool if we did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have, obviously, our weekly podcast. We've added to that this year articles, so Substack articles that people subscribe to. It's delivered to their inbox every week on the same day that our episodes come out. A great companion piece to our podcast episodes. And then we have what Tim just talked about, the idea of going on the road, maybe finding an artist somewhere and interviewing them and having a conversation with them. That would be great. And then the other thing that we've talked with you, Josh, about is just an American Soundtrack live. And just a presentation that we can give. Maybe it's something that you bring your whole family to. It's about maybe an hour long. And we just kind of go through the different decades and just tell the story of what America has been through and what it's gone through and what it was and what it is, what it's becoming, and just tell that story through the different songs that have been created and recorded throughout the decades.
That's awesome. Well, that kind of leads me to where can our listeners find, listen, and subscribe to your show?
Absolutely. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. You can find us on Facebook under the American Soundtrack Podcast, and then Substack, as Kyle pointed out. So, yeah, absolutely. We've tried to release episodes every Tuesday. We've been pretty consistent on that. I really would encourage people to go back and listen to from the start. We've covered Michael Jackson a couple times now. Of course, the movie came out recently. And then there's just tons of fun to be had, whether it's a song that, like I said, we already know, or learning something completely new about a song. Like one of my favorite songs and favorite episode of ours is when we covered Total Eclipse of the Heart. And that's just a fun song to belt out. And Kyle, again, does such a great job with the research and finding the stories. That song, you know the song, right? Turn around, bright eyes, all that good stuff. It was originally made for a musical on Broadway about vampire love story.
Really?
Yeah.
And so when they talk about Turnaround, Bright Eyes, and I Fall Apart, and everything about the night, there's just so much imagery in the song that just blows your mind, and you think about it a completely different way.
That's fascinating.
So definitely would love for people to go check it out, share it with their friends. And kind of actually I want to pigeon on to a little bit on the last question about milestones. Today is kind of a special day for us because we've actually accomplished 2 of our milestones today as the day we're recording with you. I don't know when you're going to release it, but one is we wanted to collaborate with other podcasts in the LINC studio and help grow awareness for our audience, their audience. So we would love to do that. The few people we have been able to meet in here just in passing have all been super kind and great stories. And the other milestone I really love is as of today, we just released our first ever episode with guests.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the first 72 whatever episodes at that point had just been Kyle and I, and then we had a very special Father's Day episode drop out where his older 2 daughters joined us took some time off college, and came and joined us and recorded our first episode with guests, and we loved that, and we'd love to explore that. We had another milestone earlier this year where we took our first viewer request. Yeah. So a young boy
That's
and
exciting.
his mom, who we found had bonded, a teenage boy, a preteen, and his mom had bonded listening to our podcast, because I was actually able to take the idea that I got from here about podcasting and take it to my tech class at Berthoud Elementary. And for the last 2 years, my 5th graders have actually created their own 5-episode podcast. And so it's just fantastic. And
What a
we love
cool
hearing stuff like that.
generational bridge.
Yes,
You know?
and that is one of the big goals that we have for American Soundtrack is what you just said, Josh, is the generational bridge, which is why that was so cool, is the fact that this mom and this son bonded over our podcast. They sit down regularly and listen to the songs. And the mom is able to share, like, yeah, I remember that song, and I remember being that age. And it just allows for this conversation and for a world to open up between a mom and a son. And I would love just to hear more and more stories about that kind of thing happening.
I love that conversation starter.
Yeah.
And I feel like especially now with social media and the internet and everything, it can be really difficult to just have a kitchen table conversation.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Yeah, so if we can lend ourselves to make that happen, I love that. Love that so
Absolutely.
much.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Kyle, Tim, thank you so much for breaking in the studio with the Up LINC. And thank you all the listeners for joining us for episode 1 of the Up LINC. If you want to start your own podcast, shoot a video, or just explore the gear, you can reserve the studio for yourself, absolutely free. Check out the High Plains Library District website, mylibrary.us, and don't forget to subscribe to the Up LINC wherever you get your podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.